It was a Texas showdown for the ages. The best showdown we'll have with the Astros until, like next weekend or so, weekend after that, whatever it is. The Rangers, they'll win this series as they win this game. What a great victory it was against a really, really difficult pitcher tonight, or this afternoon, I should say. John Radigan here. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. So glad to see you already in the chat. And yeah, how about that, Mark? Let's make Armstrong the new closer. There was energy in the building when he struck out Altuve today. Jeff Wilson joins us from Globe Life Field in just a couple of minutes. The Queen Cat is got us all up on and running on StreamYard, we like to call it, after the Rangers beat the Astros 4-2. It's a day to celebrate, and Jeff's at the ballpark, so he can't. I may have to drink two of these on his behalf. You know, I'm doing him a favor, right? I mean, if he can't have any, I'm going to have to do it. Somebody's got to do it. Celebrating a Rangers win of the game, celebrating a Rangers win of the series. And at this point, winning series is really the least they can do, right? They might need to do more than just win series. But for now, you win series and you take your chances, especially when you have series like this that are head-to-head. And this is a head-to-head series for the Rangers. Before we get into everything that happened in this game and on this weekend, let's tell you and remind you about our partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters, because our month continues as we celebrate our great friends at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Dallas, and you still have a chance to donate. Seems like maybe in honor of those little brothers, if you will, the guys that Dave and Mike have taken to calling the Little Rascals. Maybe it's time to donate a little bit on their behalf, because what a game it was by them, and what an opportunity you have. Click on that box where you would normally do a super chat and donate some money to Big Brothers and Big Sisters as we continue to celebrate them and our partnership with them all month long during September. So, you know, that you needed everybody to come through. I was at the ballpark before the game, and I talked to one of the coaches, and I don't want to say who, but as my last words to him were, all right, go out there and get a win. And he said, well, the odds are against us. And he said, but we're going to beat the odds. And I said, man, it's fun to beat the odds, right? And it is. It was a really fun win because of so many things that were prevalent in this game. First of all, I think anybody who loves the game of baseball was disgusted, frankly, just disgusted to see Framber Valdez again. And I know it's not like the Astros can cut him. He's a great pitcher. But it's disgusting to think what he did to his teammate, a young guy who had no recourse, and then Valdez shows no remorse in the days and the weekend that follow. It's really disgusting. So any sort of pain or discomfort that any of us can inflict upon that guy makes me smile. And that's what the Rangers did today. They got to him, and they got to him with the youngsters. First of all, Cody Freeman loved it. You know, there were 2 outs in that 6th inning, and Cody Freeman got that single. He was so fired up. And then he scored on the Josh Young double. And seeing Cody Freeman on his horse and Tony Beasley waving him around and challenging the Astros, who really – maybe they were trying to throw home. It didn't even get there. So whatever happened there. And Cody Freeman scored and flipped over and jumped up and showed that boyish enthusiasm. And that broke a 1-1 tie. Fantastic. Then followed by Jake Burger. How about that? 3 straight 2-out hits, single, double, home run, as Jake Burger just got it over the wall and right, and it's a 2-run bomb, and it gave the Rangers that 4-1 lead, and it just had Framber Valdez squirming. And I promise you, there were people in the Houston organization. They wouldn't say it out loud, but they were kind of happy too. They don't like the guy. Most of them that I talked to over the weekend hope that he's not back. Most of us feel like he'll have very few options next year, but that's a topic for a different day. The topic for today is beating him and the Astros which the Rangers did. I loved how the Rangers scored their first run, too. That was back in the second inning. A single by Dylan Moore, the first hit of the game off Valdez. And you know, when he's got it going on, you know, he's got that mean streak in him and all that. You never know. So it was really fun to see Dylan Moore get the hit. But then Jonah Heim with perhaps the best strikeout of the season. He struck out. I think he's 0 for his last 15, right? So Jonah's in a bit of a bad way offensively. He strikes out there, but the ball gets by the catcher. Jonah's a catcher. He knows what to do. You get right in that running lane and you run to first base because he knows from the catcher's perspective, if the runner is in the running lane, it's a really tough throw to first base. So much so that it hit Jonah Heim, and in came Dylan Moore. Heads up base running by Dylan Moore, who came all the way in from second. He had stolen second base, and so the Rangers scored their first run of the game when there were 2 outs. They scored their other 3 runs of the game when there were 2 outs. You just got to love those 2-out rallies, and you got to love that strikeout and that heads up by Dylan Moore to you know, break through. That was a 1-0 game for a while. Patrick Corbin. What can we say about Patrick Corbin? I almost tweeted it. There's something about this guy that he's like, we get his best when he's facing the best. I remember the 2 games against Tarek Skubal this year that Patrick Corbin threw. Fantastic. There have been a couple of other instances, and I can't remember off the top of my head against whom, and some of you in the chat probably will. But then today, I don't know, is Valdez, you know, the Astros' best pitcher, or is it Brown? I guess you could argue. Obviously, it's Brown. He's in the Cy Young conversation with the aforementioned Tarek Skubal, but Framber Valdez is pretty stout. Bad a guy as he is, he's a really good pitcher. And man, I just loved Patrick Corbin responds so well to that sort of, lack of a better word, pressure, right? That is pressure. That is mano a mano. You know, pitchers always talk about we've got to put up zeros, but especially against a guy like Valdez or a guy like Skubal or a guy like Brown, you got to put up zeros. And he put up mostly zeros. You see, 5 2/3. Patrick Corbin allowed only 3 hits. He allowed the 1 run on the walk. He had 5 strikeouts. And, you know, you don't mention it, especially when it's your own guy, but, you know, the first hit of the game wasn't until there was 1 out in the 5th inning for the Astros. So and the way Patrick was going, he had all those 8-pitch innings. I'm thinking, wow, are we on no watch? Now, again, this is a pretty good offense, a pretty good lineup that the Astros throw out there still. But it was feeling pretty good, and it was fun to watch Patrick Corbin go toe-to-toe, absolute toe-to-toe with Framber Valdez. And again, he left the game when it was 1-1. And so just a fantastic day for him and exactly what the Rangers needed. They did not have to go extremely deep into the bullpen, which was necessary. They did make a call up today because Bruce Bochy just didn't know what was going to happen. And so they recalled Carl Edwards Jr. Now, he was not on the 40-man roster. So in order to do that, they had to designate for assignment. They DFA'd Caleb Bosley. And Boats told us before the game, they're really hoping in watching and making, hope that he's going to clear and that they'll be able to, put him back into the minor league system. It's one of those realities of baseball that just kind of suck, but they didn't have anybody else ready in the conversation about this move. We brought up the name of Josh Boers, and Boats told us he has been shut down. They're going to concentrate on 2026 for him, but he's just not far enough along, so it doesn't make much sense to keep pushing because at this point, he can't get back to help the major league club. There's just not time for that. So why bother push, let him heal, right? Give him the off season and bring him back strong for 2026. Someone asked Boats, would he be a candidate next year to be the closer? And Boats said, absolutely. Do you remember that last pitch of the World Series? So, that would be good. But, that's unfortunate, though, that Josh Boers, it's just unfortunate that he hasn't gotten healthy enough, hasn't gotten that velo back, and too bad. But they didn't need Carl Edwards Jr. today, but he's a guy that was actually drafted in the Rangers organization, has floated around the league for a while now, and so he has experience, and Boch likes that about him too. Because look, it's a pressure cooker right now for the Rangers. Every single game. We'll talk lots more in just a few minutes about the upcoming series with the Milwaukee Brewers. The best team in baseball this year. And of course, so they've got the Brewers, then they've got a road trip where they go to New York to face the Mets, and then they go to Houston. So, it's not going to get any easier for the Rangers in these next 9 games. The 9 after that do get, at least on paper, a little bit easier. So, we'll see what happens there. But they've got to figure out a way to navigate these 9. And you've got to love the way they navigated this series, right? They had that huge 12-inning victory on Friday night where Dustin Harris came through, having just been called up, and he came through in the clutch. He had in that game, he had the only hit with a runner in scoring position. In fact, prior to today's game, the Rangers were 1 for 37, 1 for their last 37 with runners in scoring position. That's going back to the Arizona series where they lost 2 of the 3. That's the first 10, 11 innings of that game against the Astros on Friday, and then it does include yesterday's game too. That said, 1 for 37, and that one was the Dustin Harris hit that won the game in the 12th inning for the Rangers. So really a fun weekend series, an exciting series, and I tweeted this out. I loved Rangers fans not only celebrating, the Josh Young hit, the double that scored Cody Freeman, not only celebrating the Jake Berger home run that just cleared the wall, but celebrating that Shawn Armstrong strikeout of Jose Altuve. And that got the crowd up on their feet, and it got them fired up. And the greatest thing in the world is it shut those Astros fans up, right? Because yesterday they got a chant going at Globe Life Field. Let's go Astros. I don't blame them. I've covered so many games in Houston as the Rangers sideline reporter, and it's really fun when you're there representing the Rangers, and the Rangers fans are so numerous, and they begin chanting, "Let's go Rangers." So I get it. I get why they do it. But from this side, I hate that they could. And 2 out of the 3 games, frankly, they couldn't. And the Rangers fans did a great job. So lots more coming up on this show. I mentioned Jeff, he's coming up in the next segment to where we will talk post-game, hear what he's heard from being down in the clubhouse and talking to the players about this one. We've got that preview of the series or it's at home. It starts tomorrow at home, but we've got the preview of that thing with the Milwaukee Brewers. And, of course, we also want to tell you about the other things going around baseball, plus the young players. We got to talk more and specifically about these young players who are shining. So all those things, all those topics coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's time for us to tell you about Monarch Money. So yesterday on the great college football day that was, it was time for us to do the financial summit. So I'm like up early. All right, if we're doing this, let's go. We got lots of college football to get to, and actually had a really productive day doing that and getting things all organized and in order. But it's something that's so important to everybody, and you've got to take the time to do it. And guess what? You've got a friend. You've got an ally in Monarch Money. This is more than just a budget app, of which there are many budget apps, and I'm sure all of them do a nice job. Monarch Money does so much more than that. Monarch Money will help you not only sort of manage your money, it'll help you grow your money. It'll help you grow your wealth. It'll help you grow your portfolio. And that's what sets Monarch Money apart. They're highly rated, top rated by the Wall Street Journal. There are millions and millions of customers. All give them 5 stars. It's just really a fantastic place for you to go. Take your money there. Take your family there and let it grow. Let it work for you. And guess what? If you go to monarchmoney.com and use the code DLLS, you will get your 50% off or the first half of a year for free. However you want to look at it, a 50% savings is pretty significant. So go there, do that, and you'll thank me later. Also, we want to remind you about Prize Picks. What a great app this is. This is a place where you can go to make a little money and maybe more importantly, have a little fun. Now, it depends on how much money you want to invest in your account. And then you go in and you just pick individual guys and see what they might do today. With college football going, with the NFL now going, with, obviously baseball heating up, there are so many places where you can go in there and use your vast knowledge of sports and decide which guy is going to do what that day. And anyway, I hope you'll avail yourself to, some of the things. I imagine today that there was probably one in there that said, Patrick Corbin, plus or minus 3.5 strikeouts. Well, he had 4, so you would have won that bet, right? So anything like that you like to do, they'll have in there, Dak Prescott, plus or minus, 1.5 interceptions. Well, last week, if that was the case, I hope you took the under, right, and made some money. So it's a great app, and we want you to download the app today and use the code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DLLS, 50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Okay. So let's keep talking about this great game that the Rangers played, this great series that the Rangers played against the Houston Astros. I mentioned talking to a few people from the Houston Astros who it's interesting, their perspective. And when we broadcast types, media types sit down together, there's some brutal honesty. We are very honest with them as they are with us, especially people like Houston, who we see a lot. We've seen a lot over the years. They are not too, they're somewhat bleak about this team and its possibilities in the postseason, right? And all you have to do is look at the last 10 games in the standings where, the Astros are 4-6 and the Rangers are 7-3. And because they lost those 2 in Arizona on the end of that road trip, the Rangers, and because they had that real stinker last night at Globe Life Field against the Astros, you might be thinking, oh man, they've fallen off. They really haven't. They're 7-3. You're going to lose some games. They had that great stretch, and they continue to do it in a way that is just delightful to watch. It's so much fun to watch because you don't expect it. Now, they were bleak with us. They don't think that this Astros team, has all that. They compare this Astros team to the one that got beat by the Tigers at home in a wild card series, 2 straight games last year, right? That's kind of how the locals feel about, at least the guys we talk to feel about that team this year. If we're being completely honest, we have to say, as a coach said to me today, the odds are against us. They are. I mean, when you've got all these guys, all these veterans hurt, the odds are stacked against you. But here's the thing that just really made me smile today is after Cody Freeman scored, on the Josh Young double, got all the way around from first base, flipped into the home plate, and then, over onto his back and up smiling. He got back out onto the field, and the Rangers network took a nice tight shot of him playing his position. And you could see happiness on your face. But I'll tell you what I saw, confidence. And confidence is just it's an elusive thing. And to get it at the big league level requires success, right? Which he had in that instance. He certainly had success. But he's had since he got here. Now, he's always had success. Most of these guys have. right? They don't get to big league baseball without being successful. But then taking that step to not only getting to the big leagues, but then having success at the big league level and gaining confidence at the big league level. That's a really difficult thing. It's an elusive thing. And it feels to me like Cody Freeman, might be there. And I'll tell you who else looks like they're quite a bit there. Michael Helman. He hit the ball hard today. I mean, Helman flew out to center field, hit it hard, just a line shot out to left field in the 5th inning, hit the ball hard. I loved, and he plays really good center field out there. So seeing these young guys do that, and then the other thing was just watching the bench when Berger hit the home run, and all the little rascals, as they're calling them now, are lined up down there at the end of the dugout and just bouncing off the walls with excitement and with joy and with confidence. And of course, winning breeds confidence. Winning against a first place team like the Astros, a team against whom you must win, right? I mean, the Rangers know that. These guys all know that. They're like, okay, if we're going to keep this alive, we got to win this series. And of course, now they're saying the same thing about the next one. And then they'll say it about the Mets series, and then it'll be probably still true about the Astros series. As it is, they only gained 1 game on the Astros in the standings, but that's fine, right? There's no problem with that because they started the weekend 5 back of the Astros in the standings in the American League West. Now they're 4 back. You see there, 1.5 back of the Mariners in the division. And of course, we'll talk lots about the wild card as well because they're only 1.5 back of the wild card. But first, just as it pertains to this division, right? Sure, you would have loved to see the Rangers sweep the series and gain 3 games, right? To gain 3 games on the Astros. But it's not likely. I mean, the Astros, are a first place team for a reason, and whether or not their broadcasters feel a little bleak about them, they're a really good team, and they have a lot of pride. And look, they win the division every year. Other than 2020, I think they've won it every year for 9, 7, 8, 9 years in a row. So they're a really good team, and they believe in themselves too, and they bolstered themselves, especially by getting Correa at the deadline. So, it's a really good team. So you're not going to sweep them. I mean, the reality is probably not. The reality is you're probably not going to sweep them down there either. So you gain those games. You gain however many games you can gain. And then you hope and feel like maybe other teams can continue to put the Astros in the struggle bus. Now, they're headed to Toronto next. That's no easy place to play, and it's no easy place to get to, and it's another country, and there's a lot to it. Now, they have an off day tomorrow and don't start their series until Tuesday, so that does make the travel part of it a little bit easier. There's no sort of pressure. It's like, however long customs takes, we don't care. We got a whole day off tomorrow, but it's still then the baseball starts, right? And the Blue Jays still have a 2-game lead over the Yankees in the American League East. It's getting tighter. The Yankees are gaining ground. 2 games over the Yankees and 4 games over the Red Sox. And then, of course, as we said, the Rangers have the toughest draw in the next series because they've got the Milwaukee Brewers. There's the wild card standings, though, and it's instructive to say that if we'd shown you just exactly this graphic yesterday, the Rangers wouldn't have been on it because our in the hunt, little line there has only 1 team. And as of this morning, when the day started, the Royals had jumped over the Rangers after their loss last night, and I think the Royals had won 3 in a row. They lost today. So the Rangers jumped back over the Royals. They're now only a half a game ahead of the Royals, only a game and a half, though, behind the Mariners. Mariners, big victory today over the Marlins, 18 runs or something they scored. So, that is what it is. But you feel like the 2 teams that are playing as poorly maybe as anyone in the baseball, certainly anyone near the top of the standings in baseball, are the two teams ahead of the Texas Rangers right now. So there's an opportunity. There's a window. And there's Jeff Wilson, who joins us now live from Globe Life Field. Jeff, we've talked a little bit about the standings and a little bit about the difficult road as it continues for the Rangers with Milwaukee. But first, let's get your thoughts and some of the thoughts from down there about a really good weekend.
Yeah, it was at minimum they had to win the series. Winning all three would have been nice. It didn't happen, obviously, with the 11-0 loss last night, and then the Astros went and pulled a switcheroo and put in Framber Valdez to start, and that didn't go unnoticed by the Rangers. And anyway, today was a must win. I mean, these are all, you want to say they're all must wins, but this one really felt like it because of who they were. It was the Astros. It's in the division. Obviously the playoffs are on the line, big picture, but the game in front of you is the one you got to win, and that's kind of how the Rangers have to do it. But with Framber, the addition, basically right after last night's game, the Rangers found out about it. To do what they did today was pretty good.
Yeah, it really was, and to do it with well, first of all 4 runs scored with 2 outs, but also to do it with some of the young guys or the lesser known guys coming through. Dylan Moore scoring, really heads up on one of the best strikeouts we've ever seen by Jonah Heim, and then the Cody Freeman to get the 2-out rally started in that 6th inning where he got there were 2 back-to-back strikeouts actually, and then Freeman slaps that single out there, and the next thing he's scoring on a Josh Young double.
Yeah, and if you want to break it down, Moore gets on base and then steals second without a throw. It was such a great jump. That's a critical play, because if he's still on first, and Heim, it strikes out. All right, it's runners at what, first and third, maybe first and second.
Right.
No run scored. So that was a heady play. But and if I kind of have this thought, and I'll probably write a little bit about it. But we're talking about Cody Freeman and Dylan Moore and all of these guys, Alejandro Osuna and Dustin Harris winning the game the other night. Guys who you absolutely didn't expect to have any part of the Rangers, basically, and as late as middle March. Well, Patrick Corbin's like the OG of that.
Boy, is he.
The Rangers had the injuries to Gray and Bradford, and they needed a pitcher, and they took Patrick Corbin off the scrap heap, and a lot of people, not me, of course, were like, "Well, how's this guy going to be the answer to their problems?" And he has been, the guy who nobody expected, and who probably every time he takes the ball, nobody expects. Patrick Corbin is going to pitch well, and he pitched his tail off, especially after what happened last night with the 11-0 loss. I know that got a little sideways late, but this guy, you want to talk about Cody Freeman, that's awesome because he brings a lot of energy. But Patrick Corbin has been the guy all year, and it's fun to see.
It really is, and I said before you came on, Jeff, it seems to me, and we'd have to go back and look at all of them, but you get the best out of Corbin when he's facing someone like Skubal, who we've seen him, I think, face both times. And when you see him against somebody like Framber Valdez, right? I mean, he just seems to have this gear where he can take it to, and he took it there today.
Yeah, he does kind of have a big game gene, I guess. He's one of the reasons why the Nationals won the World Series in 2019.
Sure.
Game 7, he pitched his tail off, and then. But Bruce Bochy has noticed that too. Like when the Rangers need a win, usually Patrick Corbin is there supplying some pretty good stuff. You go back to his best start of the year was the 8 innings against the Angels, eight scoreless. Rangers had lost the opener in that game, and of that series, and the opener hadn't the offense hadn't done squat. And it felt like a really deflating loss after the great series against the Guardians. So Corbin comes in and just, he got some good defensive help, of course, but that's part of it. He pitches to contact and knows he's not going to overpower guys. It's part of his game plan, and he's just been executing it really, really well. And there were those couple starts there that, the Blue Jays start, the start against the Royals, the next time out, things are starting to look a little bit shaky. You're starting to wonder if maybe Jake Latz might replace Corbin at that point. It looked like Corbin was getting tired, even though he's like one of the most durable guys in baseball. And then, if that was a thought, it got pushed aside when Evaldi got hurt. So
sure.
The Rangers need Patrick Corbin, and he's delivering, man. And it's great to see, and he's really good at home. But it's one of the best stories of the year, no question about it.
Yeah, there is no doubt. We more talk about him. We'll talk more about some of those young guys. And, of course, we'll talk more about this upcoming series against the Brewers. That's all coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Oh, and it's time for us to talk to you about cigars and conversations. It's next Saturday now already. It's the 13th, and this is a great opportunity for you to learn about one of the best organizations, the best charity organizations out there. Big Brothers Big Sisters is for the kids who all they need is a chance, and they need a positive role model of their same gender. And so you give them that benefit being a big brother and big sister. So if you go to the Cigars and Conversations at the Casa de Monte Cristo next week from 2 until 6 p.m., you'll hear all about the organization from board members of BBBS. You'll hear from community leaders. You'll hear from some of us here at DLLS because we're partners with the Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Wonderful opportunity. It's a chance to get a big old fat, nice stogie, a free drink, and some good conversation. You'll feel good about it, too. That's next Saturday at the Casa de Monte Cristo Lounge from 2 to 6.
John, I don't know if you heard this or not, but the NFL season's underway.
Man, I got to peek at my Lions. Hang on. They're in commercial.
Okay.
They were down 10-0 last I heard.
The season has started. It started Thursday with the Cowboys against the Eagles, and everybody knows how that one turned out. But probably better than a lot of people expected. Had a chance to win the ball game, and I think they're going to have a chance to win a lot of these games. And so that includes the big Monday night matchup in Las Vegas, and the Cowboys crew. Our Cowboys crew is going, and you can join them. TrueFanTravel.com. They'll hook you up with the airfare, the game ticket, the hotel stay at Mandalay Bay, and you get to gamble all weekend, hang out with our Cowboys crew, maybe push the limits of the law there in Las Vegas, and just have a great time. So TrueFanTravel.com. Join our Cowboys crew in Las Vegas for that game in mid-November.
Yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity. I encourage you to be a part of it. See that first ever Cowboys game against the Raiders. I was mentioning, I think you were in on this conversation. One of the last coaches I talked to as I was leaving the field today was like, well, the odds are against us, right? Just being very honest, right? The odds are against us. And then he said, but we like beating the odds. I said, yeah, man, it's fun to beat the odds. And so the Astros, had the odds stacked against the Rangers, and the Rangers beat the odds at least today and probably Friday as well. And the reason anybody's saying that, acknowledging that around there, Jeff, is because you're doing it with all these guys who you didn't even expect to be on the team at all this season, right? These are guys you were hoping would be ready for maybe next year, some of them maybe even the year after that. And here they are contributing and gaining confidence and getting it done against some of the best in the major leagues at the big league level.
Yeah. All right. So Cody Freeman, not with the team to start the year. Dylan Moore, not in the organization to start the year. Osuna, not with the team to start the year. Helman, not in the organization to start the year. So there's 4 position players. Phil Maton, who pitched some pretty big relief innings. That's 5 guys who contributed today, who were not in the plans. 3 who are not in the organization, and that's kind of a light number compared to some of these other wins that the Rangers have been having. And so, yeah, and these guys, they're gritty. They want to be in the big leagues. You know, they're taking advantage of this opportunity. And Cody Freeman's the leader. You know, he's the one who's bringing all this energy, and you know, and it keeps coming up. And you know, Josh Young and Jake Berger talked about it today. You know, these young guys who are bringing the energy, and so why did there need to be an infusion of energy? I think that's kind of a question. You know, what had happened? Were the guys who, you know, Simeon Seager, Adolis, Josh Young, those guys, were they beaten down by the losses? You know, or by the inconsistency, by their individual struggles, by all the injuries? You know, where did the spark go? And so, you know, you get this guy, Cody Freeman, who's drafted the same year as Josh Young, 4th round, I believe, little high school kid. He's, you know, I think he's generously listed at 5'8". But man, what a spark he's been, you know, and like I said, all year when I'd ask about him in the minor leagues, oh, he's a winner. He's a winning player. And you know what? You see what he's doing. He'd never faced anything like Framber Valdez.
No.
You know, I mean, Framber, for as big a jerk as he is, can pitch, right? And it's left-handed, and there's nothing like that in AAA, okay? Cody had not seen that. And so, like you said, 2 strikeouts, this guy gets a hit, and it turns into a big run. He's fired up. Josh Young, who's still a young guy, though he has a little more experience, he's fired up. Jake Berger said, you know, who comes up next, he said, you know, Cody looked at him and said, let's go. And so what happens? Jake Berger hits a home run. I mean, there's just, it's a spark. And the Rangers have to answer why the spark was needed. And they can do that after the season. They need to write it out right now and, you know, figure out a way to win. Again, this lineup's not going to score a bunch of runs. You're going to need to be lucky, like on the Heim wild pitch strikeout. You're gonna need a clutch hit every now and then, like Josh Young did, and you're gonna need somebody to run into one, like Jake Berger did.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it's gonna take, and it's not gonna be there every night. It absolutely is not. But the Rangers need to take advantage of wherever they can. They need their bullpen to keep performing. You know, a ragtag group in and of themselves, all in camp on the team, and a bunch of 1-year deals. So you have just a collection of guys that, A, seems like it'd be easy to fire them up, but B, who for whatever reason needed to be fired up, and now it's working. The Rangers are 11-4 in their last 15 games. That's pretty good, and they're. You know, some of 9 of those games have been without Corey Seager. Hey, 6-3 without him. You know, it's kind of like make it make sense. Well, there's got to be a reason behind it, and eventually that's going to come out.
Sure, it may, but the thing that can happen, and I was saying before you came on, Jeff, on the broadcast, and I know you have TVs available there in the press box. I'm not sure if you happen to be looking, but in the coming back from break after the Rangers' big 6th inning, they took a tight shot of Cody Freeman out at his position, and his face, of course, looked happy. Yeah. But there was something on his face that you know, and we've had a chance to chat with Cody a lot. We've had him on the show a couple of times. It was a confidence like I haven't seen out of him yet, you know, and maybe to your point, like, damn it, I just hit Framber Valdez, you know, I just scored from first. I mean, he had, and so, you know, if you gain that, which is exactly what, you know, the little savior did in 2023, Evan Carter, you know, if you gain that confidence, man, it can be big. It can propel you.
Yeah, you know, and Carter, to your point, I was thinking about this earlier. Carter was still surrounded by a bunch of veterans. He took the place of Adolis, who was injured, but all the other guys were healthy. And now Freeman is in a situation where he's not the only one, and he's not the only guy from AAA on this roster trying to make the magic happen. But he is and he's probably not going to be as good a player as Evan Carter, but his brother's a major leaguer. He's from a baseball family. He was a 4th-round pick. He was killing it in AAA.
Yeah,
there's a lot of reasons to be confident, and it's not going to take much for that to soar. What he was doing in AAA is working. All right, I know he's having to adjust and seeing best, really good stuff, but he's still making a lot of contact. Doesn't strike out much. He's playing positions that aren't his usual positions, so that's going to get better. Even though there hasn't been any issues with it so far, he should be confident and feel good about the contributions he's making. And the Rangers need to be confident and feel good and tell themselves, we can win this game. We can make the playoffs. We're good with what we have. And when you start with the rotation that the Rangers have, that's a great place to start. That's a nice security blanket for this offense. But Jake Berger has hit 30 home runs in a season.
Sure.
Josh Young is a former 1st-round pick who was an all-star. Kyle Higashioka has played in the ultimate pressure cooker at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
There are guys on this team who can do it. Jock Peterson's won 2 World Series. All right. Mm-hmm. I mean, so there are guys who know how to do it. And, if all these injured guys or some of the injured guys come back, and maybe add to the club late in the season, great. But until that stuff happens, this is who the Rangers are and what they've got, and they need to go out and fight with it.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We saw it when the Rangers were struggling, before the All-Star break in May or June, when things, were really hitting a bad point, and a lot of people in our chat and on Twitter and everywhere were saying, bring the young guys up, let them play. And there was really no chance to do that, right? At that point, in most cases, you've got to let these guys figure it out. And they did, right? They got it turned back around and they, came out of the break, playing great. But then all of a sudden there is a need for these young guys and you can see what they can do at this level. And I think it's, if there's a playoff run in this team, and we're not still 100, obviously not 100% sure there is, but if there's any kind of playoff trip for this team, I think that's going to make it even more fun.
Yeah, look, there's 18 games to go.
Right.
that's right. What we're down to here, and it's remarkable that they're here where they are. It's tough, and I mean these next 9 games are going to be brutal.
Right?
You get the Brewers who are coming to town. You get to go to the Mets, and the Mets are terrific in New York, and then you get to go to Houston, and that might be the easiest series of the 3, honestly.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if the Rangers in these next 9 can go 5-4, hey. That's doing something, okay?
Sure.
If they can manage a way to win every series, all right. Now you're talking.
Sure.
Now you're really cooking with gas. That gets you to 80 wins, and with 9 to go in some games that you really should win.
Yeah.
While your opponents are playing some tough games themselves, so. It really is game by game, day by day. You may get a stinker like you got yesterday, and then the next day you may get what you got today. And
that's the thing. If the stinker is followed by this, that's okay, right? Look, fine, whatever. It's one game. You just don't want them, back to back to back. Mike Bassick said at some point in the middle part of the game when it was 1-1. I think we've seen this game 90 times, he said, but then the Rangers, did all that damage late in the game and got that 4-1 lead, ultimately won it 4-2. And that part of it, we haven't seen. quite as many times. So it was really fun to see today, especially against the Astros. Next up, let's dive deep into this Brewers series first and foremost. We'll get to the pitching matchups, and we'll talk about the races. We'll talk about other things going on in baseball as well. It's all coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Hey, we've got a new opportunity for you, but first, Jeff, talk about that diehard opportunity that's about to expire.
Yeah, you know what? If you haven't taken advantage of this yet, shame on you. Okay, we've got 3. You can become a diehard right now through this special for $36 for the year. You get a free shirt with it. It's called the Football Club, but once you're part of our club, the Die Hard Club, it's hockey, it's baseball, it's basketball in addition to football, and we want you because you get 20% off our events, so you get a big discount off that Cowboys trip you're going to take. You get 20% off all of our merch, which is awesome, and then you get to read all of our stories. You know, there are a few that are not behind the paywall, but most of them are. And at this point in the year, with so much happening in baseball, with the Stars and Mavericks really about to get underway, and with the Cowboys just now getting underway, you don't want to miss the end of it. You want to be smarter than your friends, and the best way to do that is become a diehard for only $36.
All right, and our new opportunity is called the Supporters Club, and it was established in way back in 2025. Oh yeah, right now. It's been around since 25. And it's something I don't even think you know about, Jeff, but maybe someone has given you the lowdown on this. The Queen just told me about this before the show. We have 2 levels that you can join. It's a YouTube club, and if you join either one of these 2 levels, you get special things. So if you join at the lower level, you have access to those exclusive emojis that you see down there on the lower right hand of that graphic. And if you're in the more costly club portion of the club, well, guess what? You get exclusive content, behind the scenes videos and things that we do behind the scenes that only you will have access to. So this is for the real ones. This is like the video version, if you will, of being a diehard. So join that. It's not as expensive either. $15 and $5 are the price thresholds on this baby. So do that. Join us, and be a part of really the ground floor of our supporters club. Okay, so this Brewers series, we've been kind of aiming at it ever since the Brewers got hot, which was it April 3rd? No, I don't know. We didn't think they were this good, and then all of a sudden they were, and it seemed like it happened overnight. They've had multiple 12-game win streaks this season. I mean, it's really unbelievable what they've done. And so, they've just swept the Pirates, although, you're not going to put that on your bragging montage, but still,
Yeah.
They did it. You have to do it. And anyway, so they come to town, and the reality is, Jeff, that since 2020, the Rangers have lost 6 straight games. They're 0-6 in the 20s against the Brewers. So you know what I'm saying?
They're due.
The Rangers are due. You're damn right they're due.
When you look at the pitching matchups, it's interesting because Latz against Jose Quintana, the veteran who's been around.
Yeah.
And you look at it and go, oh God, he's a left-hander. Rangers are 6-0 against the last 6 left-handers they faced.
Yeah.
So I don't know anymore. Things seem to be evening out. You always wonder who Mr. TBA is going to be.
They've actually.
That's what's on the game notes.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Oh.
So they've said other sites have updated Peralta to game 2. And go ahead and put it back up there, Kat. Yeah, and then Priester is in game 3. And this, of course, could change, but that's some of the latest intel that we've gotten on the Milwaukee side of things.
Well, Peralta's a hell of a pitcher. He's probably one of the more underrated guys in the game. I mean, you just look at those sparkling numbers. Priester,
Jeez, look at that.
nothing to cough at there either. So the Rangers are going to have their hands full. The Brewers, they're so good with matchups and player development, and they every year they seem to put together a winning bullpen. So there's a reason why they're so good. And Quintana was a late sign for them. So gosh, you're going to have your hands full, but look at those Rangers pitchers. Not bad. Not bad at all.
No, and you think about Jack Leiter's last outing, it was great. I mean, he, hard luck loser in that one. Jacob Latz, what is he? The team is 3-2 in his 5 starts. He seems to get better with each one. And Merrill Kelly, I think, we've talked about this before, Jeff. He is pitching, for this team, but also for his future right now. And he knows, especially in a playoff race like this, a lot of eyeballs on him.
Yeah. That's a real thing too. But he's, going back to the conversations we've had with our PHNX brethren, he's kind of a big game guy, and he shows it, and he's darn good. And just with his ability to change speeds and locate, he is going to make some money. this winter, no question about it. Rangers very good at home, Brewers very good on the road. So this is going to be tough. A series win here would be a really good outcome. No questions about it. This is a tough crew, and Rangers are going to have their hands full. No question about it.
No doubt about it. But they did this weekend too, and they prevailed in 2 out of 3. We've talked a lot, and when you brought up Kelly, and you think about the free agency possibilities and all that, and could the Rangers re-sign him? And he's said, of course, he's made it pretty clear he'd love to go back to Arizona. But what was crossing my mind when I was watching Patrick Corbin pitch today? You talk about a guy who's going to get a raise next year, Jeff.
Yeah.
He's making $1 million. And again, he's made a ton of money over the years. I know it, but he's making $1 million this year.
Sure. What a bargain that's been. I think I've said this maybe during one of our weekday shows, John, is that I asked somebody in the front office, what do you think Patrick Corbin's going to make next year? Or what kind of deal is he going to get in free agency? And they speculated 2 and 20.
Wow.
And so he's done a lot for himself. And there's a lot of value in having a guy on your staff you don't have to worry about. I mean,
right.
you know he's going to pitch every 5th day. And this version of Patrick Corbin's giving you a chance to win pretty much every 5th day. There's a lot of value in that guy, having that guy in your rotation. It'd be nice if he could go a little deeper in ball games. I think the changes he's made with his pitch usage since really that Toronto Kansas City stretch has kind of helped turn a corner for him. Of course, scouts are good and he's going to have to keep mixing things up, but maybe he was too predictable. Maybe he got away from what his best pitches were, whatever it was. He seems to have rectified that, just judging by his last 3 starts. So, free agency, and I don't know why the Rangers, they'd at least have to consider him. I mean, they're going to have some openings. You lose Gray, you lose Malley to free agency. You get Evaldi and DeGrom coming back, and then Leiter. So there's 3 pretty good starters. But you still got to figure out 2, because you're not going to have Bradford to start the year. Rocker, not really sure you can count on him at this point for a rotation spot.
No,
I'm sure they think they can do better than Jacob Latz, but hey, Jacob Latz has shown pretty well these last 2 years. But Corbin, Kelly. What if Malley comes in here after his rehab start? I think he had a rehab start today. What if he comes in as a meaningful contributor, whether it be 3 to 5 innings down the stretch? You like what he did the first couple months. Maybe you find a deal for him. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if these guys were back, in some shape or form on some, probably team-friendly deals, I would guess. I think Mahle has some durability things to answer to, and
Sure.
I'm sure Corbin will get a raise, but if he likes being here, Mahle today, 2 1/3 scoreless, 2 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 46 pitches, 32 strikes. So he really, honestly, he might be ready to go next time.
Yeah.
If it just depends on what it looked like. If the command was better, if his pitch shapes were better, then he might be a guy to consider here. Maybe on the road trip to New York. Right now as it's lining up, it would be DeGrom starting the opener. In the place where he became a superstar. So I don't think he would have any jitters or try to avoid a start there. But maybe with the way they are trying to watch his innings and his fatigue level, maybe they sneak in Mahle there. But if you're going to start Mahle, you got to. That's the thing about it is it's going to be a pretty heavy day on the bullpen.
Right.
So anyway, so then maybe they do save him for the next time the lat spot comes up.
Yep. And Jacob's not been back there as a visiting guy, has he? Since he left?
No.
This will be the first time.
They were there in 23, but he was injured. So this will be
his
first
right.
time there. First time pitching at Shea or City Field. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah. Showing my age
I was thinking about this too, and thinking about our previous chats. We love all of our people in the chat and prompting us and spurring us and all that. But we saw a lot, especially when the Rangers first acquired Craig Kimbrell. Like, where is he? What's he doing? We want Kimbrell. Where's Kimbrell? Give us Kimbrell. And gosh, I just thought he's a shadow of himself right now.
Yeah.
He can't find the plate, and I'm really surprised. I guess it speaks to the state of the Astros bullpen that he's at the major league level, because he's just not. He's not who he was.
No, he's not, and he wasn't. He didn't pitch very well Friday. He was better today when he pitched, but it's still not a ton of velocity. I think the highest I saw was 93. And there wasn't a lot of consistency there with strikes throwing. Although you could argue that's been pretty common for him throughout his career.
Yeah, true.
But, and this kind of, if we're talking about him, we can talk about Josh Sborz. The Rangers have shut down Sborz for the year. He's fine physically, just the arm wasn't there yet. He needs more time to build up, and they don't want to rush anything and risk a potential setback. But the thing that was hindering him was his lack of velocity. Well, that was what was going on with Kimbrell. Kimbrell was 91 to 93 at AAA. Sborz has popped a little bit, a couple times, 93, 94, but and maybe the adrenaline of a major league game would maybe get him a little higher, but it's apparently it's just not good enough, and so the Rangers took the ball out of his hand. He's done for the year, and hopefully he can be back next year and still under club control. Should be affordable in arbitration, and give it a shot. The guy who threw the most important pitch in Rangers history, and you at least want him to get a chance to go out there and perform.
Yeah, and we personally do too. He's such a good guy, and he's worked so hard. Love to see him get back. And Boch seemed confident when we talked to him about Sborzy today, just that there'd be a real good chance now that he'll have a full off season and he can work with the trainers and do all the things he needs to do to get ready to get set for 2026. So Jeff's wearing the Do It for Durrett hat today. We've got a big Do It for Durrett day on the show tomorrow. And in fact, Jeff grabbed all the items that the Rangers have donated for the Do It for Durrett event, which is this Friday. And Jeff, we got a couple of special guests coming in tomorrow.
Yeah. You guys all remember John Daniels. He's gonna come on, and then you probably remember Anthony Andro from his days working with me in the Fort Worth paper, and then going to Fox and doing some stuff with John. And he's out of the journalism business, but if you still follow him on Twitter, he's not out of the sports commentary business.
No.
He has some pretty pointed comments at times. Anyway, he's going to come on, and we're going to talk about how awesome Do It for Dirt is.
Yeah, it's a great event. It comes up this Friday. All the details of that will be there tomorrow at 1 on the DLLS Rangers podcast. But we wanted to let you know about that now. Tell your friends. It'll be a fun day. Obviously, we'll talk to JD about some things, more than just Do It for Dirt. He's still very plugged in. And in fact, his Tampa Bay Rays, the team with which he works now, have kind of surged and then fallen off a little this weekend. But, they're in the hunt too. So it'll be fun to talk to JD. It'll be fun to talk Do It for Dirt. And it'll be fun to do it with all of you tomorrow at 1 o'clock on another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.